And a good morning to everybody today. How you all doing out there in the world? It is the 18th of August. It's Tuesday, and it's 10:30 Eastern, which is 10:30 out here in Singapore, where I'm based. And for those of you who are joining us from Europe, good afternoon. And of course, if you are joining us for the first time, I'd just like to point you towards some of the live sessions that we do all the time on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. So Tuesdays usually is with me, Andrew. We have Oppa, who is with us on Wednesdays, Pedro on Thursdays, and Ronaldo on Fridays on FX Street. And we also have a number of sessions also on YouTube, this is our YouTube sessions, and you're very free to join us, every week for these live nailing FX sessions. And in particular for the US session is where I am the host, and with that, I'd just like to get you to take note of these disclaimers, okay, and just follow along, okay. Okay, so let's get started. So one of the things I like to point out, and especially as I kind of start off in kind of midway through August, but some of the things that I'll be kind of breaking out over the next couple of months is in particular trying to characterize things in a way that you know that have helped me, to think about trading and kind of relate it to some of the things I like to do, such as flying. So I do have or did have a private pilot license, and so through that experience, I've been able, to to kind of characterize, how I think about trading, and some of the things that I do have done as a pilot is to make sure, of course, I plan, right? And so as traders, these are some of the things that we also need to make sure that we do, which is to prepare a plan for our trades, because often, before, even if you travel on your own, or before COVID, I'm sure a lot of us went on vacations, whether it be locally or internationally. We often had at least some sort of plan, right? You needed to book your tickets, you need to book your hotel, kind of need to know, the logistics around how you get from the airport to the hotel and to the various sites, right? And so it could be very structured, as if you went on to a tour group, or it could be more unstructured, where go more of a free and easy type of vacation. Well, the trading plan, or is very similar. It could be very structured. You could be a very structured person, or it could be somewhat less structured, but still, a plan, right? And so there's different levels at which you would need to plan for. You always, probably start with the bigger picture view of, well, okay, if I want to go to, travel to Europe, well, okay, well, Europe's a big place. Which part of Europe do you want to go to? And so you really start at this big picture level, which is the same as If I'm flying from A to B, then I'd need to look at some sort of aviation map, and also understand what the picture looks like at the actual terminal level, at the ground level. So where are the runways? Where are the taxiways? Where is the actual terminal? So on one level, I need to understand where I am going. From a very practical level, I need to know where I am starting from. Or if I'm landing at another airport, well, again, where are those taxiways, the runway, the and the terminal, the very basics, right? So we need a plan, and so when it comes to the charts themselves, right? The Your destination and origin is something that you probably want to also identify. So where did we come from, and also where are we headed, and when we have that picture of things at the macro level, then we're also able to ask the question, well, what if, right? What if price went continued higher? What if price went lower, right? What happens if price goes sideways, right? So to often, when you're making those sorts of decisions, or wanting to make those sorts of uh, um, plans, right? Often you would kind of use some tools, right, to help you identify, uh, where those, how far is it to your destination? How far have you come from your destination, right? And so it's similar to what we use in trading. We have tools that help us identify where price has come from, and also where it is going to, and what are those barriers that are potentially in the way of getting to our destination in a straight line. Because as we know, there's turbulence. There are obstacles that you have to go around. I mean, you can't fly into a thunderstorm, for example. You either need to go above it, or land very quickly and stay out of it, right? So at the very macro level, we also need to identify where are those barriers to uh, that are preventing us from getting to the destination that we want to get to, right? And that could also be at the micro level as well. So, at the micro level, we are looking for, where is that terminal? Where is the runways? All of those sorts of details. Well, same thing for trading. Where is your entry points? Where you're going to enter a trade, where you're going to get out of your trade, and also what are those things in the way. And again, we have tools that help us identify that, right? In particular, the AutoUFO algorithm that Traddictiv has developed in order to identify those entry or exit points, which could be stops, or it could be your ultimate target, right? And these are algorithms that are programmed to identify those locations again and again and again, based on the underlying algorithm, right? And so there's consistency there. And as you use the tool more, as you understand the market that you're trading, it gives you a better way um, to make your decisions, right? A more consistent way to make your decisions. Okay, and so part of what underlies all of this, of course, is order flow. And so, what is order flow? It really is this continuous process by which buy and sell orders keep coming in and out of a specific market, right? And depending on whether you find a valid counterparty, right, those orders would be executed or may be canceled after a while, right? And so if they are executed, those orders are noted as filled orders, whereas if those orders remain unexecuted, they're just waiting to be filled, right? They are unfilled orders. So they haven't found a valid counterparty yet because they're either waiting to be filled at a price at which a buyer wants to buy at, or at which a seller wants to sell at, right? And so I just want to introduce this concept now based on this idea of order flow with this idea of indirect and direct forces, right? Because the question that we need to ask is, with all the information that is out there in the market, what is it that actually moves price, right? And this is where we know, right, out there's a lot of news, right, that people pay attention to, reports, right? There's fundamentals, there's technical factors that computers these days or fund managers these days are using uh, to build quant algorithms for identifying those various parameters that they're looking for to exploit the price action in the market in order to make a profit, right? And uh, so these are things that we need to understand, right? Are out there in the market that the market players are using. So, but we also need to understand that markets only move when trading sessions are open, and this is because orders can only be executed during those market hours, right? So if you want to trade the US market, well, you try trade it at 4 a.m. in the morning. Well, I'm sorry, it's not open. Even the extended hours, it's not open, right? So you cannot trade the US, markets at 4 a.m. in the morning. That's just how it is, right? If you want to trade the futures market, oh yes, for sure, that's going to be open, right? But if you are trading, uh, other markets, right, which are not open at those hours, then no matter how much you want to trade it, well, you can't. So market moves therefore can only can't occur when the markets close, because and therefore no orders are being filled, right? And so the conclusion is that the flow of orders entering a market is the only one direct force responsible for the movement of price. Okay, so you can have the best indicators, you can have the most accurate news, you can have your Bloomberg terminal, all the information that you could ever want to need, right? But if that particular market that you want to trade on is not open, then there is no movement in price, right? And so this is where we're able to delineate, right, the these reasons, right, these other reasons that may impact the market, such as the news or fundamentals, technicals, right? They're more characterized as indirect forces, since their influence, right, translates into price movement only if and when a significant amount of orders changes status from unfilled to filled. Okay, so this is the concept. This is an understanding of just the mechanics of the market, which we need to understand, and which, if you're able to, therefore, identify where these unfilled orders are, will help you make a better decision around where you want to enter and exit, right? So this is where um, where we can combine the forces, combine our knowledge of uh, indirect forces with direct forces to make a, a better trading decision, right? And so, just in this example here, let's say we have some news to be reported. So that's an indirect force, right? If we do nothing and we just wait to see, evidence of new unfilled orders entering the market, which will confirm the interpretation of the indirect force from the market larger players, right? We may, observe, right, that the movement in price, right, will either generate new unfilled areas of unfilled orders on the buy side, or new areas of sell unfilled orders, right? So regardless of what the news is, the order the what is key for us to be able to identify and understand is not so much what the indirect force is in of itself, but how the market reacts to it, right? And when it reacts to it, then we're able to now make a decision about how we want to actually trade it, right? So, if the indirect forces are uh, leaning the larger market players to be buyers of the euro in this case, then what we would tend to see is these buy unfilled orders being created, right? And conversely, if the market is moving lower, right? But a smart action, right, would be for us to wait for price to return to this level of, in this case, 114.14, and buy at that point, right? So don't react to this movement, right, to the upside. Let us wait for, given that the market has now indicated that this is an area where they're interested in buying, well, let's just wait for the market to bring price down to that area so that we can buy along with them, right? So, so in this way, right, we are now making a more objective decision because we're using a tool, right? And a tool that is programmed to identify these areas and help us make a better and uh, uh, buy or sell decision. Okay, so as price retraced into that area, so that where that UFO had been created, right? This is that same area. Price did come into that area and then moved away, right? And so euro really moved up as both the indirect and direct forces together drove prices higher. Okay, so why am I kind of talking about all of this, right? Why am I talking about all of this at this point? Well, I just want to kind of summarize at this juncture, right? Having a flight plan also involves us looking at technology, right? I mean, today, before you used to have I guess analog type of instruments in your in your plane, right? You used to have gauges which were driven by outside air pressure, which today they still do. Some of those instruments are, but mapping systems. I mean, you used to have paper maps. Well, now you have electronic digital maps, right? And in fact, they're built into the dashboard, right, of the plane. And so this is these advances in technology, enable us to be uh, you know to be more efficient in our decision making, more precise, more accurate in our decision making. And And therefore what we want to do as traders, right, is to look for technology that's compatible, right, to our existing strategies, or which in fact automate you know our existing strategies. Maybe not so much in the execution, but at least in the number crunching, right? And because therefore that what they do is they give you consistent algorithmic calculations. And even better, if you're able to apply these tools to any market for any style, basically anyhow, anywhere, right? Whether it's crypto, whether it's the US market, whether it's the European market, where it's the Chinese market, where it's the Russian market, whichever market you want technology that you use to be able to be applicable to any sort of market or condition, right? And so that really is the goal of trade with the UFOs, the traddictiv, the tools that we create, and primarily the tools that we have out there currently is autoclimate and also auto UFOs. So let's just go to the charts, right? And kind of just look at currently, right? What's going on in the, say the Aussie dollar, okay? And if we have a blank chart, right, and I'm just looking at the 1 hour, okay, what are the things that you're currently using to make your trading decisions? How are you identifying trend? How do you identify entry points, exit points? Are you using patterns? Are you using Fibonacci's? Are you using moving averages? All of these different indicators are all very useful, right? But as we know, if you use too many of them, it just messes up your chart, right? But you need to use something, right, to kind of at least give you more objectivity. So even if you do use something as simple as a trend line, right, and maybe you make that into some sort of channel, right, up channel, right, that's a valid way to help you identify trend, right? We at traddictiv, we have our autoclimate, right? And so what autoclimate does is help us identify whether the climate out there, so as a pilot, we always look at the weather. So it's kind of like the weather. What is the weather? Is it raining? Is it sunny? Is it hot? Is it humid? And simply what autoclimate does is it gives you, are we in a situation where things are moving up, or are we in a climate where things are moving down, right? And statistically, we even have statistics built in here. We are also able to get a sense of not only what the current climate is, but are we in a situation where this movement in price is overextended or not? So we now have a situation in the Aussie dollar where we've had on a 4-hour time frame. If I go to a daily, right? If I go to a daily, we have a situation where price has been going up for 2 confirmed days, or in an up market, a confirmed up market for 2 days, right? And on average, right, the number of candles where we can expect prices to continually move up is around 4.75 days, or if you kind of round it up, maybe 4 to 5 days, right? So what does this tell us? This tells us that the environment is conducive to maybe another 2 or 3 or 4 days of higher prices. Okay, so to be a buyer, right, in these pricing conditions is a smart thing to do, right? Now, in terms of execution, we may want to be a little bit more granular, and so we go to a lower time frame. And this is where if we turn on the AutoUFOs, right, the algorithm calculates an area of interest, right, for buying, right? Because we were looking at a climate. Remember, on the daily, we're looking at a climate which was uh, was on the upside, right? And so we're looking for areas to buy. And so what the AutoUFOs does is clearly identify, based on the calculations, areas at which we would want to buy along with these market players, right? We need to be patient, okay, and buy along with those market players. So it's 72 with a stop at basically 71.80, right? And based on your trading plan, based on maybe if you want to use other indirect market forces like the Fibonacci's, right? Um, right, right. If we use these Fibonacci's, and you may say to yourself, "Hey, look, yeah, I kind of like my trading plan. Allows me to trade at retracement levels of between 50 and 61, right? Could be a valid, or it could be between 38 and 61, right? It's a normal standard sort of retracement. It's not a deep retracement. A deep retracement, you may say, could be closer to 76, right, or 88, right? Whatever those numbers may be, you know. But the key thing is to be consistent, right, in your decision making, helping you plan these. That's what these tools are there for, is to help you plan your trade, right, to give you discipline, to put filters into place so that you're making a decision consistently, right, and objectively. More importantly, objectively. Okay, so if Fibonacci's is your thing, okay, and maybe if you want to, let's just put a 50 up there, just so that visually we can see where that 50 is. So 50 fits right into where that area of buy orders potentially are. Right? Let me just kind of refresh that a little bit. Okay, right. So if that is an area, right, that you kind of like, then uh, it makes your decision making very, very clear, right? It also makes it very clear where you put your stops, right? So the algorithm is recommending a range, right, um, of essentially 20 pips, right? So you can, again, depending, it's a Forex, right? So you may, depending on the spreads that you have with your individual broker, you may want to make that 25 pips, right? Exante, so Exante is our sponsor of these uh, of my nailing FX sessions, right? They have basically zero spreads, or very, very narrow spreads. I shouldn't say zero spreads. They have very narrow spreads, but you pay commission, right? So it's not like it's free, right? It's not like it's commission free, right? There is commission, but it means that you get narrower spreads, practically raw spreads, right? So that in terms of getting into your trades, you don't have to worry about that. Whereas if you have spreads, then you have to allow for that movement, right, for that bid price to come down to that ask price, right, in order to get your entry, right, on the long side. On the sell side, yeah, you have to wait for price to move up to the ask price, right, which has these spreads involved, right? So it means you have to make some adjustments, right, on your entries and your stops, whereas if you have you know cleaner spreads, then you can be a little bit more precise in your entries and also your exits, right? So again, if you kind of like your you know do 1-to-1s or 2-to-1s or 3-to-1s, whichever you want, right? You can, it's very quick, right? In order to make your decision, taking into account all of your direct and indirect forces, right? And so Fibonacci is one of those. Then, hey, that confirms, an area that you're interested in. You know, maybe you like some sort of moving over crossover, or maybe you just like the fact that you know that it's at this you know uh, maybe it's because it's above a moving average. So if I put on here, say an exponential moving average, and let's say it's a 50 period moving average, at which point you may say, hey, look, as long as price doesn't doesn't touch that 50, then hey, look, I trail my stop, right? I'll trail my stop up, right? And so you can use these tools, right? These indicators to help you make those sorts of decisions, right? So that's the Aussie dollar. Okay, let's see what else is out there. What else has been moving up? Probably the New Zealand. Well, New Zealand's been a little weaker. We've had some strength in the euro, so some prior analysis from before. I'll just remove some of those old lines there. Okay, so the euro's been kind of moving higher. Same with the pound. Okay, just remove some of those old lines. CAD's weak. Been strong. I think the yen has also been strong. All right, so these old lines here, and also Swissy has been strong, right? So, and then you've got your cross pairs. But if we just stick to the majors, going with the Aussie, let's just look at New Zealand. Right? So again, what this moving average now, okay, it now has been crossed, right? So for you, is that a indication of more bullishness coming into the market? Where would you buy, right? Where would you look to buy, right? And so this is where, again, the AutoUFOs can come into play. Identify the area at which to consider buying it. But maybe that area is, well, we were looking at the 1 hour, I think, right? And so again, the algorithm calculates, right, these areas of buying and selling, right, very objectively. And really, then it's up to you, right? How do you want to select, the point at which you would like to enter? Would you like this one, or this one, right? There's no right or wrong answer. It really depends on what your rules are, right? What do you consider, when you're making a trading decision? Again, is it the Fibonacci, right? But at what point do you take your points of the swing, right? That's where it could differ, right? Let me just make this a little bit more clearer. Okay, I think I'll make the 100 a little bit clearer as well, so I can see it. All right. There we go. So yeah, Fibonacci. Do you take this whole swing, or do you take the more recent swing? And if you take, depending on where you decide to take your swing, right? These retracement levels are going to be different, you know. And so, do you just take these ones where they align to the areas of Fibonacci's, or do you want something shallow, or do you want something deeper, right? That's something for you to decide, and it's also what the market will play out, right? But as price had broken that trend line, as price has now closed above the moving average, these together may indicate to you to have a preference for going long into the market, right? Okay, so we looked at Aussie, we looked at New Zealand, Euro, again pretty strong, and so yeah, where are we interested in going long? So again, the algorithm, the AutoUFOs, tells us that, hey, look, these are areas for you to be interested in, right? And you may say to yourself, look, I really don't like that price action, right? I don't like the fact that the width of this area of risk is so wide, right? Or you may say, look, I don't also equally also don't like this area, right? Because it's too narrow, right? That's something that you have to define, right? What is too narrow? What is too wide? And if none of these satisfy you, then you don't trade it, right? You don't have to trade everything, right? All the time, but this is what technology helps you to do, isn't it? It helps you to quickly go through. Well, you don't want to rush things, right? As you build your experience, you know what to look for, and you learn to trust the things that are put in front of you, right? But you want the computer to do the work, right? And you want to just be able to click, right? I just want to see, do I like the short here? Is it with the trend, right? Do I like it? Is it the right Fibonacci retracement level? All of those components, right, that make up your final decision about whether do you want to enter the market here? Do you want to short the market here? Or do you want to short the market here, right? I mean, these are all questions that you need to ask for yourself, right? And again, once that information is there, right? Yeah, what else do you use to filter, the opportunity? And maybe it very much is that, yeah, these Fibonacci levels align very nicely to those areas that there are unfilled orders, And again, this can actually prove the fact that the orders, right, or that the algorithms, or that individuals actually use Fibonacci's in order to identify prices where they're interested in buying or selling, right? So that's a great example of indirect forces at work, along with direct forces, right? So they're putting their orders into the market at these price levels because, or partly influenced by, something that is very readily available out there, a Fibonacci tool, right? Or Fibonacci calculations, retracements numbers, right? So there we have for yen, looks like it's continuing lower. Swiss, similar thing, right? Look at again, you can use whatever average you want. You could have 3 of them, you could have 4 of them, you could have 10 of them. It's up to you, But the more important thing is, okay, once you identify, the direction of the market, how are you going to take advantage of it? And are you patient, right? Because if you want to go short up here, well, it's going to take you a while, right? But that's not unusual, right? I mean, it took, how many bars, right? How many days from, or in this case, hours, right? From this peak to this peak to unfold, right? So that's August, 3rd, and August 5th. That's kind of 2 days there. And then how long did it take to get from here up to potentially a retracement point at which maybe there were unfilled orders, right? And so that took, right? That's the 12th, and from the 5th, so it's like 7, seven calendar days, right? And and then again, you do a little sort of Fibonacci, right? Does it align to anything? I don't know. Okay, let's just put this over here and put this over here. All right. Oh, yeah, look at that, right? 76% retracement now. Was there an auto UFO aligned there? Maybe that was higher up. Maybe there was something at the lower time frame, lower down. Let's just take a quick look. Hard to say. But there are tools, right, available that help you replay all of this. So if I do go onto a daily, because I would need to use this on the daily, right? If I turn on the AutoUFOs, okay, and at least on the daily time frame, where are those, UFOs? Where are those areas that may have been traded, right? Then what I can do is use replay. Okay, I say I want to replay price action from this point, and I want to see how how do these UFOs form, right? So if I play, right, and so you can see price action, how those UFOs form, right? How do they respond? So I think we had seen here, right, some areas of cell UFOs. All right, some more cell UFOs came here. I kind of touched up there a little bit. Right, now you're getting more cells. All right. All right, and and that's where we are. Okay, this is where we currently are. Right. So again, I mean, this is the power of technology, right? Fantastic, sort of tools available to users, right? Um, but how do we, how can we make sure we use it to our advantage, in making better trading decisions, filtering out, for the future, right? I mean, we've learned a lot of lessons through trading, right? I'm sure you'll learn many more, but you don't want to keep on making the same, taking the same actions which are not helpful, to this endeavor, right? That you're venturing into, and so that's going to be an important thing, right? To make sure that you understand, right, or have it clear in your mind, right? Is what are those parameters that you're going to deploy that will make your decision making more objective, and clearer, so you don't want to have like 1,000 you know things on your chart to make it too busy, right? And even for for drawing some of these areas where the algorithm has calculated out, the areas of concentration, right, for selling, or for buying, right? Um, where are you going to, um, uh, how are you going to manage the information that you have, uh, is a question you constantly have to ask yourself, so that you you know can do your research, explore the different indicators out there, learn how to use them, learn how to apply them, uh, and but at the end of the day, I mean, it needs to you know move you towards confidence, primarily. Uh, so anything that helps you become more confident about your trading decision is something that you want to capture and learn how to use that you know tool or piece of information, that piece of knowledge, how to apply it to the market, and that's all important. So coaching, coming to these sessions, hearing from different instructors that we have under Trade with UFOs, like Oppa and Pedro, and these guys, right, can all of us, right, can help you to make a better trading decision, to gain more confidence, right, so that you can make your own trading decisions. We can't make those for you, but we can certainly help to give you, feedback, right? And on that point, if you do go to tradewithufos.com/Andrew, right, and you want to find out more about these apps, right, whether that be AutoClimate or AutoUFOs, just put in your name and your email address. Say that you're not a robot. If you are, no offense, right? Uh, and just click click here, right? Our sponsors are offering to pay for the activation fee, which is usually $8, US $8 for AutoClimate, right? And if you are interested in that, again, just enter your name and email address, and we'll be in contact with you on how to activate AutoClimate for free, right? And or no cost to you, okay? And then we have other resources. I mean, if you go into the, just click around the website, like the get-togethers, right? There is, let me just click. Okay, I need to highlight and click. Right? And it'll take you to the calendar, right, of what's going on. Okay, so if you did want to add, nailing FX to your calendar, you can just click on here. Okay. We do have courses around Forex. So if you go to, I'll have to log in. Let's just go to here actually. Just go to join us. You can see the courses, right? On demand, live or online. We do have memberships, right? So you can also get a free membership. So that gives you emails and all that sort of stuff, right? And other sort of information right along here. Okay. So feel free to navigate. There are examples of the technology as well, and how it's been working. Okay. So again, feel free to navigate through the website, right? And yeah, right. So we looked at the Aussie. Let's go back there again. Let's just go back to hourly. So price spiked down, still moving down, and we'll just see how this one plays out. Right. Okay. All right. So I think with that, let me just go to back to our slides here. All right. So AutoUFOs, autoclimate, it's technology, right? That's compatible to existing strategies. So indirect forces, right? It's consistent in its calculations, right? And you can apply this to any market, any style, anyhow, anywhere. Okay. And so I mean, part of what I'm trying to do here is also make sure that the sessions that I do, whether it be on FX Street or here on the you can trade, sorry, the Trade with UFOs channel, right, on YouTube. Try to give you a flavor for everybody. So I think for those who are new recruits, right, to the trading arena, right, you're probably going to be wanting to focus more on the fundamentals, right? And so that's really what we do in our courses. We provide the fundamentals of trading, and in particular how to use the technology within within the market, right? So that's where we spend 5 3-hour sessions to explain all of that, right? And you get hands-on. So you will have, as part of the training, right, access to both autoclimate and auto UFOs, right? So in the auto UFOs, you'll be able to install them on your application, right? And so whether it be TradingView or if you use TradeStation, right, you'll be able to install auto UFOs and autoclimate on either of those two platforms, software platforms, or TradingView is a website, right? But if you join their free basic membership, then you'll be able to use and attend the survival to mastery in action Forex. You will have access to the TradingView, uh, um, autoclimate, and AutoUFOs for the duration of your of the class, also, and then 2 or 3 weeks after that as well, right? So so for fundamentals, that's where you can get that sort of training, right? And if you are more experienced, right, maybe you need a little bit more coaching, right? We'll also try, and kind of not focus so much on the fundamentals. There may be sort of concepts that I may go through during these times, but also trying to be more practical, right? And then, if you're very experienced, then you don't need the sort of hand holding that that you may, that somebody at the recruit level may need. You may not need the coaching sort of things that that those who are in the intermediate sort of level need. But you may just want new ideas. You want to know how to apply your strategies, or using our auto UFOs, right, autoclimate in a different market, right? And so, part of what I'll also do is look at those different markets. Everybody looks at Forex, to a certain extent, CFDs, if you're allowed to do that. But there's also a growing interest in the crypto side as well. So something even like just Bitcoin, we can always look at, right? So I'm trying to, fit within an hour. I may not be able to address all of these points in every single session, within an hour, but try kind of sprinkle, some things for everybody, but predominantly would more than likely try to focus on, you know, one group at a time, right? All right. Well, with that, if you did want to, so I do have QR codes here. So if you did want to access that web page where, tradewithufos/Andrew, right, where you're able to get more information about the apps, but also ask, so that you're able to ask any sort of questions, right? Um, you know, those are just push this back up here. Um, those resources is definitely something that we can make available to you. Any sort of questions you have, feel free to ask. You can reach me also with those questions at andrew@traddictiv.com. Um, and if you do send me any sort of message, I'll try and get back to you within the day itself, or the next day. Okay, so hey, thanks very much for joining my session. Glad that hopefully this was useful. I know I spent a little bit of time to explain some things more conceptually, but also, looked at how to apply some of that technology, the auto UFOs, autoclimate in Aussie dollar, and we will see. We will have to be patient and wait to see for price to come down into the buy UFO area that we saw there, right? And then move out. Okay. All right. So again, thank you for joining, and we will see you next time. Okay. Take care.